For those of you who are new, may not know who Jerry Rackley is. Jerry is executive in residence in the Marketing and International Business Department at the Spears School of Business at Oklahoma State University. His diverse marketing background includes 35 years of experience at some of the world's largest companies, as well as many startup organizations. He continues to serve as a marketing consultant, which enables him to bring a rich, current, and practical marketing perspective into the classroom, which is key. And Jerry is the author of 2 textbooks, one, Marketing Analytics Roadmap, and then, as Stu mentioned previously, he's also a co-author on our newly published Principles of Marketing textbook titled Modern Marketing Principles. We're excited for that. I think last time I checked, we published that book last week. We've already had over 200 instructors from all over the world in it, and excited to learn more about it and use it next fall. So Jerry resides in Stillwater, Oklahoma. We're excited to hear what Jerry has to teach us and instruct us on artificial intelligence, AI marketing in the classroom for 2019. So without any further ado, Jerry, time is yours. I'm going to disappear again, and we'll let you take it over. As a reminder, remember, questions for Jerry, chat them in. We'll get to them at the end. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Trevor. And I am grateful to have the chance to be a part of this webcast today and talk about artificial intelligence. And really, this comes out of my experience outside the classroom. As Trevor said, I do a lot of consulting work, and I think any of us who are teaching digital marketing or doing digital marketing in practice understand how fast it changes, and AI is certainly one of those areas that this presentation I'm sharing with you today, by the time we get to the fall, probably much of what I will share with you is changed, and maybe some of it's even obsolete, and that's really how fast this stuff is moving. I think all of us who teach this understand that, but let's talk about it, because I think there's some things we definitely want our students to know, and I think the place I want to begin is, if I can get my slide to advance, I'll try this control, is with the hype. And AI, if you read anything about AI, you're going to hear that it's definitely been hyped. In fact, the Gartner Group would probably say it's overhyped, but there are lots of grandiose expectations and capabilities that have been and are being ascribed to AI. So I think the place to start for us who want to think about introducing AI into our classrooms is to understand where AI is in terms of all that hype. So let's take a look at a few things. And one of the things I just have to cover is this. So is AI going in this direction? We're all familiar with the Jeopardy champion Watson, IBM's now famous supercomputer that probably has the most advanced AI capabilities on the planet, and that's no exaggeration. We saw what Watson could do to the best human Jeopardy contestants the game show had to offer. So if you look at what Watson's capable of, could Watson be the new CMO at an organization someplace? As impressive as Watson is, I don't think Watson's going to be calling the marketing shots in the leadership seat for a marketing organization, at least not anytime soon. But I do think this. I think Watson's capabilities and artificial intelligence in general could do much to help marketing analyze its growing pool of data. And those of us teaching digital marketing know that every single customer who experiences a touch point of digital content is producing data at a high volume and a fast rate. And artificial intelligence really gives us the ability to do more with that data. I think artificial intelligence, or maybe Watson specifically, could help make far more predictions, help us improve the agility and the quality of marketing decisions. So we'll keep our eye on Watson, even though I don't really feel Watson's going to take over as the new CMO. We'll certainly keep our eye on what happens. Now, one thing that I think I'll also mention is just that right now, there's a lot of content and a lot of dialogue taking place around AI in marketing specifically, which I think is a good thing. And I think that's one of the reasons that we need to talk about this topic of AI in our classrooms. I don't want to pretend for a second that we're going to go make our students AI experts or AI developers, but I think we do want them to understand what AI is capable of. Now, you can see this Google search result. I did a search this week on marketing artificial intelligence, and as you can see, there's a lot of content out there. Now, I don't know how quality some of that content is, but I know this: when you do a Google search right now, you get 145 million results, and certainly some of that content is informative and useful. So a lot is being said, a lot is being written, a lot is being talked about where AI in marketing is concerned. So I think we should know that. Here's another data point. Just this week, actually, this post appeared in my Facebook newsfeed. And I'm sure some clever marketer had set up a remarketing campaign, had detected that I had been doing some online research about AI because I knew I was going to be doing this presentation. And so it decided to serve this impression up in my feed. And I think it's interesting for that reason alone, but also because this shows a very practical application of AI, one that I wasn't previously aware of. I certainly knew that there were AI capabilities around developing content, but this is a little bit different. As someone who does a lot of marketing content writing myself, I appreciate how much good content is needed to power all these digital marketing campaigns we're doing or companies are doing, and to power inbound marketing efforts. And so if you look at this promoted sponsored post, there's some prestigious names associated with this. The IBM is one and Cambridge University is the other. They have their names attached to this algorithm that, based on what I can tell here, looks to be like an eHarmony type service to match writers up with writing projects. So again, this week, something new I hadn't seen before, yet another example of AI. I just thought I'd share that. So let's move into what the analysts are saying. So one of the best sources, I think, of information about sort of the leading edge of AI in marketing comes from some of these analyst firms. So here I have three fairly recent, one of them actually goes back to November 2017, but other much more recent pieces of research. And these analyst firms provide some good insight. So here's a sampling. In November of 2017, Gartner published some research, and this report tells us that while AI is still emerging, enterprises are actively experimenting with AI applications. And the headline says a lot. It's going to transform marketing. And then in August of 2018, Forrester shared that AI will enable marketing teams to focus their time and energy on core marketing activities. And that's really what that second piece of research discusses, if you're able to go out and find that. And then the third piece, which is the most recent, in October of 2018, another piece of Forrester research tells us that AI can help marketers make sense of all the data that we're collecting and use it to better engage customers. And that's really something I'm seeing a lot about right now, is how AI can help drive that customer engagement or prospect engagement that is so critical, especially to B2B organizations. So we've heard many claims about how various technologies are going to transform things or spark a renaissance. That is not a new message for those of us in marketing. We've heard that about lots of technologies. So I think it's natural for us to sort of take these kinds of headlines with a grain of salt. But I believe these, and I think the timelines that are discussed in some of this research may be off a little, because technology is not always adopted as aggressively as the analysts predict it will be. But I do believe we're going to see a penetration of AI deep into many marketing functions. And why do I say that? Well, I say that because I think our profession of marketing is ripe for disruption in the way that AI can disrupt it. So just my 2 cents on these headlines. Let's look next at adoption. And Demand Metric is an organization that I do some work for, so full disclosure there. But despite all the talk about AI, some research that I've just done for Demand Metric, but which is not yet published, shows the understanding of how AI is going to impact marketing is just slightly above average. We did ask a question in this research, how much do you really know? And it was about above average, maybe a C or C plus. And this is where we as educators, I think, can help. What's also true right now is that adoption is still pretty low. So what's taking place relative to adoption is largely occurring by marketing organizations exploiting features of the software that they already have in their MarTech stacks. And so it's not like we're seeing organizations going out and building their own AI capabilities. They're trying to figure out how to take advantage of stuff that's already there in some of their solutions like CRM and marketing automation and other things. So that's kind of where we are in adoption. And if we want to go and look at the technology adoption curve and map marketing AI to that curve, we see it's still right about there, early adoption stage, but pretty close to becoming early majority. I think we are near a tipping point, and AI in marketing is going to see enough adoption that it's pretty soon going to cross over that threshold into the early majority, and I would predict by the end of this year. And one of the reasons I say that is because the vendors that have incorporated AI capabilities into their MarTech software are going to have a lot to do with pushing adoption. We're seeing them be pretty aggressive in marketing their AI capabilities. So if you're a marketer that uses some of this technology, it's going to be really hard to miss the messages they are emitting about their AI capabilities. Okay, so here we are in 2019, and on this Gartner countdown, we have 8 years remaining. So what this means is that for the 2019 freshman class of marketing majors, by the time they graduate, they'll be entering workplaces where it is more likely than not that AI will be implemented and delivering significant results. So if we as marketing educators wish to ensure that the students we teach have current knowledge of industry practices, then obviously we need to be talking about AI in the classroom right now. So let's segue into kind of where AI is in marketing today. And as I said, it's a pretty fast moving stream. So let's just take a look at some things that I've found. And this is by no means comprehensive look, but I just want to give you some data points. So some of you may know who Scott Brinker is. Scott is currently an executive at HubSpot. He's also the editor of a blog I love to read called The Chief Marketing Technologist. So if you're not aware of it, go out and check out chiefmartech.com. And in a recent post, Scott identified 3 kinds of AI technology that marketers are using, and I've listed them here on the slide. And what he says is that with today's data volume and increasing speed, these AI algorithms are highly effective at what they do. So for example, in lead scoring, which is an activity or a process that marketing organizations are definitely doing with their marketing automation software and CRM software, machine learning and propensity modeling is now beating humans and hardwired rules-based heuristics on a regular basis. And I know because of some of the clients I work with, I would love to be able to turn over lead scoring to our AI technologies. One case study that Scott references in this post that I looked at reports a 27% increase in sales as a result of having AI do lead scoring. Stated differently, machine learning is simply statistics at speed and scale. And that's really the problem for a lot of marketing organizations is just being able to process all the data fast enough, and AI gives us a way to do that. Similarly, natural language processing, or NLP as a lot of people call it, is probably perceived as the cool AI technology because it powers the conversational interfaces of things like chatbots and voice assistants like Siri and Alexa. These applications of AI are helping drive engagement with customers. And of course, any research you look at tells you that there's a direct connection between engagement and conversions in marketing. And they're really at the point where they're rivaling human engagement in terms of realism and quality. So It's really started to arrive in terms of AI and what it can do. It's no longer something we can joke about and make fun of. It doesn't work as well as humans. It's at the point where it's working as well as, and maybe better. There's a digital strategist named Dr. Dave Chaffee, who is co-founder and content director of Smart Insights. And I'm not going to take you through this infographic, but I want to point you to it because Dave has identified 15 applications of AI in marketing. And what I like about this model, if you were to go and look at on the website and study this more closely, is that this model shows where AI is along the customer journey, how AI is being deployed all across that journey. And this is what we're seeing in practice now, is we're seeing deployments of AI solutions in industry that address the inefficiencies or perhaps deficiencies in the sales and marketing funnel, and applying an AI solution to some of those problems and seeing the customer journey as a result take place faster, more streamlined, less friction, and hitting fewer speed bumps along the way. And so go out and check out the Smart Insights website where you can find this infographic. So let's look at where AI is contributing today. And so I've kind of narrowed this down. If we zoom back out from what I just shared, what we see is AI having an impact in two broad areas in the industry, both of which marketers care very much about. The first is targeting, which is helping marketing invest its limited resources on those prospects that are most likely to become customers. And the second area is broadly engagement, ensuring that the timing and content of engagement is optimized for the individual prospect or customer to better nurture them along their journey. So those are the two kind of main areas. So let me kind of give you some more background on that. So here are some of the specific applications of AI for targeting the optimal audience. The first thing I listed here is the creation of a model that identifies and targets prospects that look like your best customers. Another thing AI is helping with is pinpointing the identity of a prospect or customer that has used multiple devices, a smartphone, a tablet, or a computer, to come in and consume our content or otherwise engage with us. And AI can tell us it was one person across different devices, which is important for us to know in marketing. Another very powerful use of AI in this area is, of course, predictive, which is getting a lot of press, helping marketers understand who's most likely to convert so we can focus our attention on them. So these are examples of places where AI is making a difference. And let me give you a real-world example. And so here's an example of a real AI capability related to targeting an audience. AI can read the digital body language of prospects as they engage with content, leaving valuable clues for demand gen. So with all this touch point data, AI solutions like the one from LeadCrunch can take a database of best customers as input and build what they call smart personas. Using these and other inputs, the AI modeling algorithm then looks for commonalities among best customers to create a model of algorithmically similar, or what we call lookalike, prospects. The resulting model not only identifies audiences with the highest propensity to purchase, but it can optimize the delivery of content to engage them better. And what's also cool about this is it self-tunes. So the more you use this, the more accurate the model becomes. And this is what marketing technology vendor LeadCrunch is delivering to its customers. So just one example of what I was talking about with respect to targeting. Now let's take a look at engagement. So there are a number of things AI can do to help marketers and sales teams better engage leads and prospects, starting with personalization, or I would say even hyper-personalization of content. So whether it's email, web, or other digital content, the NLP capabilities of AI are advanced enough to create experiences that are truly conversational. How many of us during a chat session, for example, we've had online with some company, couldn't really tell if we were chatting with a human or with a bot, a chat bot? And sometimes we'll even ask to find out, hey, are you real? AI can generate content and orchestrate its delivery to leads and customers based on signals such as prospects visiting a certain page on your website. And then it can optimize the timing of that delivery. So these are some of the things that AI can do. And here's an example for you. Rachel is an AI automated sales assistant in use at Epson America. The company has seen responses go up when she manages communications with leads. And she reaches out an average of 6 to 8 times to leads to get a response, and then hands those leads off when they're ready to engage. And the result for Epson America has been a 240% increase in engagement with leads. Rachel recognizes a hot lead and passes it to sales immediately. This allows sales reps to engage customers before those customers can go consider competing solutions. Rachel's delivered a 75% increase in marketing qualified leads, helping the sales team there stay focused on leads who are ready to buy. And a company called Conversica is delivering that capability to marketers today. So there's your real life example of that. So kind of to wrap up this part of it, one thing I think is important to understand is how AI technologies are finding their way into marketing in industry. It's not because marketing teams are developing bespoke marketing AI applications, although certainly some of them are. Instead, what most marketing teams are doing is they're simply learning to exploit the AI capabilities that vendors are busy putting into their current MarTech solutions. And in many cases, marketers already have access to AI capabilities in those solutions they're using. The vendors, as I mentioned, are doing all they can to educate their customers about those capabilities and encourage adoption. And that's why I think adoption is about to ramp up. And I want to make sure we start talking about this with our students so they know what to expect when they get out in the industry. The barriers to getting AI in-house are really pretty low because in many cases, marketers already have AI in-house, even if they don't know it yet. All right, so let's close out by talking about AI in the classroom. So where should this lead us? All these things I've been talking about as educators when it comes to teaching our students about AI. What should they know? And I have just a couple ideas I want to share and certainly welcome your comments and ideas as well. I think it's important for marketing students to have a basic understanding of the types of AI that are being used by marketers, such as the ones I listed earlier: machine learning, propensity modeling, and natural language processing. Let's teach them what these types are and then bridge into the applications for marketing and sales, like targeting engagement that we just went through. There are some great sources of information for those of us to exploit, such as the Marketing AI Institute. I have their logo up on the screen. And also I referenced earlier Scott Brinker's chiefmartech.com blog, which I really like. Providing students with examples of things that AI is already doing for marketing and sales team will help them understand its value and utility. And at the same time, I think it's important to tell our students what AI will not do, at least not yet. It's not going to do our marketing jobs for us. It's not likely that we're going to be saying, Alexa, create and execute a marketing strategy for me anytime in the near future. I also thought it was worth sharing this. You see there at the bottom, as I was putting my presentation for today together, I found out that the AMA has an event coming up in August of this year that's all about AI. Something that'll take place in August in Chicago. So I know many of you are probably connected to the AMA. So there's an event that you can consider if you want to know more about AI and marketing. So here's another thing, just a class project idea, because we all love to find ways to provide experiential learning in the classroom. So here's one you can do. You can have your students build and deploy a chatbot. So here's some backstory for you. In early 2017, the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas, a hotel in Vegas, debuted Rose, a virtual flirty concierge who apparently has a real attitude. Rose is a chatbot, and Rose was designed with a personality that guests can use. They can request for Rose to have more towels sent to their rooms, to order room service. Rose can recommend a restaurant or one of the bars in the hotel. The Cosmopolitan staff are also there in the background, so if Rose gets some request that she's not well equipped to handle, it can immediately go to real staff who can handle it. So I think students would love this project. And you see on the screen, There is some software I've referenced. RunDexter.com offers a free chatbot platform that you can go take a look at and have your students use. I think it'd be a great chance for you to have your students find an organization that would like to have this capability added to its website. And I think it's an easy way to help our students experience AI and sort of dip their toes into the AI pool. So to wrap up, since we're getting close to the end of time on this, AI has received a lot of hype for sure. Maybe it's too much, but it is already in use by some early adopter marketing organizations, and the results that I've seen are certainly impressive. The benefits, in other words, are real. They are there. The technology is moving very fast, which means that what we teach about AI and marketing this semester may already have changed by next semester, so it's on us to stay current. But that's the way it is in the world of digital marketing. I think it's just important for our students to hear about marketing AI in our classrooms. And so I hope that something I've shared today has sparked some ideas. And so I would certainly be glad to try and answer any questions or entertain any discussion. But thanks for listening to me. I hope you found that something I said was useful.
Great. Hey, thanks, Jerry, so much. So we have opened it up to Q&A. And just to make sure, so it's easy to find, a lot of you have been chatting in. Right down in that chat box, you can just click on those three little dots, and you can select Q&A or ask questions, I think is what it says. If you could do that for us, that would be fantastic. And we'll go through those questions as they come in. Before we get into that real quick, Jerry, you mentioned, we mentioned briefly in the beginning that you recently authored a new textbook, Modern Marketing Principles. We've received amazing positive feedback. We've done something new and new with the industry with Principles of Marketing course, and that's providing video case studies, not written. These are video case studies with real companies out there in the world. And so students don't read the case study, they get to watch and consume that content in video format, and that's been a huge hit so far. If you have not had the chance to review that and would like to just jump in, check out the case studies, check out the table of contents, read the material in the textbook and see all of the instructor resources, there should be a link that popped up. Let me know if that's not the case. All you gotta do is click that. You'll jump over, and we'll get you right into review Jerry's textbook. Let's move over to some questions. So before we get into, sorry, one more thing before questions. Jerry, you mentioned a chatbot. We're in the works right now. I don't have a finalized date for you, but we have a connection with Larry Kim, founder of Mobile Monkey, which is a chatbot company. And behind the scenes, we're in the work of creating what we call a real world project using Mobile Monkey and AI and chatbot marketing, whatever you want to call it. So we'll obviously post about that when that is completed. It'll be sometime in the near future, hopefully before fall. But that'll be kind of an interesting and a fun project for your students to get in and learn that. So we do have some questions that have come in, and Jerry, the first question is, you referenced a Google site earlier on in your presentation. Do you happen to remember that? I don't recall the site you referenced. Maybe Bob was referencing Stu's, or did you reference a Google site?
Boy, I don't.
It's Learn with.
I'm just going to go through mentally my slides.
Yeah.
I think the only time I referenced Google was I talked about a search that I had done just to see how much content Google has indexed on the search term marketing artificial intelligence. And that was just a simple Google search that pulled back 145 million results. So I think that may be the only reference I made to Google, I think.
Okay. If that is not the answer, Bob, Stuart Draper mentioned previously in the session before, learn with Google. Yeah. I don't think he had the word. He just said Google search, learn with Google, and you will stumble across that link. Hopefully that answers that question. Next question. As perspective, when you say AI is entering early majority, what do you mean? Are you talking in terms of all businesses, major corporations, or small business?
So yeah, that's a good question. And I think it's pretty general, but the technology adoption is generally referring to business use. So, and I probably should have been more clear at the very beginning of my presentation, although I've been in the classroom for 10 years now and teaching. I'm really at heart a practitioner, and so I do a lot of outside work in industry as a consultant. So my perspective tends to be a business perspective, a commercial perspective, one as a practitioner. And so when I'm talking about adoption of AI in marketing, I'm talking about companies. These are probably more mid to large companies. They tend to be farther along that technology adoption curve in terms of stuff like this, and specifically with AI, than the smaller companies are. But I would add this, that AI is not the kind of technology that's inaccessible based on company size. There are some impressive AI capabilities, including the two examples that I've mentioned today, LeadCrunch, Conversica, and even the Rundexter, and then the one that you mentioned at Larry Kim's new venture. The size of a company and the size of the marketing budget is really not a limiting factor to being able to adopt this in the world of business. So I'm not sure if that answers the question, but that's how I was referring to it.
Okay. One thing to consider, there's been some, I guess, talk of, how can we give students some learning application with AI in the classroom and with marketing. And to kind of bring that word AI, artificial intelligence, back down into, I guess, normal people's terms. One very common use case, we use it here at Stukent. If you've got access to a company or a business, or your students do, Facebook does this all the time, and you probably are on the other end of being marketed to in this way, but through their lookalike audiences. So to give you an example, what a company can do, or what we can do here at Stukent, is we can upload any email list if we have subscribers to our blog, right? If you're selling physical products, you can upload a customer list of people who have purchased your products to Facebook, and Facebook will do its magic and provide you a lookalike audience. So people who have similar things of the people who purchased products from you previously. And that is a very common form, very applicable way that AI is being used right now in the real world. So hopefully that shines a little bit of light on kind of that scary, very new term in marketing. What other questions do we have? Let me look through here. Chatbots. There was one about chatbot. Is there any software you recommend students familiarize themselves with for artificial intelligence? Can you think of any off the top of your head, Jerry?
Well, the problem is there's so many places it now exists. So, for example, a company called Return Path that really helps marketers do much better in terms of email marketing has incorporated AI capabilities into their solution. And, there's a company called Demandbase that does account-based marketing that also, they've added AI capabilities to their solutions. And so really, I think what you have to do is understand, what are the things marketers in industry are trying to accomplish. I've seen a lot of the AI technologies that are in existence today in these solutions really address the hit problems at the top of the sales and marketing funnel. And I think what we can do is we talk to our students in class about that conceptual funnel model and the problems that marketers have with it and how they try to use that model, you can easily introduce AI into, and here are the things artificial intelligence is helping us do. We can qualify leads faster. We can qualify more leads. We can help them move through the funnel faster to get to revenue faster. And so I think that's probably a pretty good context. I realize that's much more of a practical business orientation to looking at AI. Not so much a conceptual one, but I really think that's kind of what our students want, is they want to understand, how is this stuff working in the real world? How has it been deployed, and how is it making a difference?
Yeah. Jerry, another question for you. When you were talking about Conversica, with that example with the email assistant, is that information publicly available?
Should be, yes. It's been a little while since I've been to the Conversica website, but that information came from them in one of their publicly available papers. So they have numerous case studies, I think, out on the website, and I think there is one for Epson America that talks about Rachel, and there are several others as well.
Okay, thank you. Okay, last call for questions. I think I'm scanning through, and whatever. A lot of them were answered by the community. Thank you during the chat, during Jerry's presentation. But if there are any others, this is the last call. So we'll hang tight for just a second, and then sometimes there's a lag in the presentation, and so we'll hang tight for just a second and see if any more come in. If not, we will carry on with the rest of today. So. Cool, we got it. So Heidi found the Conversica link. Thanks, Heidi, for posting that in the chat for us. I think we're ready to rock and roll. If there's any other questions, folks, we will address those afterwards. So we get a list of all the questions, and if any of them didn't get answered during the presentation, we'll go through them afterwards and make sure that you get them answered. So, all right, well, Jerry.
Let me just say thanks to everyone, and I would welcome any LinkedIn connections. If someone wants to connect with me, I'd be happy to have that. So thanks for listening.
Yep, Jerry's LinkedIn is just found down the bottom left. All you'll have to do is just search Jerry Rackley, and you should be able to pull him up. So connect with him. Have any questions about his new Modern Marketing Principles textbook, feel free to shoot him a note, and I'm sure he'll talk through those with you. So thank you, Jerry.